as most of you know, linguistics is not just about studying an awful lot of languages. It's a lot more than that. But what do linguists actually do? Well, as we like to put it, linguistics is a scientific study of language. Now, of course, with that, there are a couple of core components to linguistics, and these components are what you will study during your first year. So one of those is phonetics. Phonetics is the study of sound, as you may know, and we have articulatory phonetics, or how to produce sounds, acoustic phonetics, and perceptual phonetics. Now in Cambridge, we're very lucky to have a very good phonetics lab as well, so you can run all your experiments yourself. Moving on from sounds, there's how to build words, or morphology. And then if we move on from the words to a larger scale, we have syntax, or how do words fit together to form a sentence. And finally, there's semantics, pragmatics, so the study of what words and sentences actually mean. Now, these are the core components that you will study during your first year. Linguistics is a lot more than that, though. So there's also the sort of how and why of languages. How do languages change? Why are there languages? So many different languages in the world. Why are they different, but also show some similarities, etc. So one of the other things that you will study during your first year is a little bit of historical linguistics, of how languages evolve, especially the English language in your first year. It also has to do with etymology, or where words come from, and how languages are related to each other. For instance, the Indo-European languages, they're a language family ranging all the way from Iceland and Ireland to the east with Hindi. Of course, it's also interesting to see how languages relate to each other in different ways. So sometimes a sentence like linguistics we study sounds very Yoda-like to us if you speak English, and that is because the word order is not the standard word order that we would expect. But word order varies in lots of languages in the world. So there are languages that have standard subject, verb, and object. We study linguistics, but there are lots of languages that vary. So we linguistics study, or linguistics study we, etc. Comparative linguistics looks at different aspects of languages, not just the syntax and why they're different in certain ways, but there are also some limits to this variation, and that's very interesting to study. Then, of course, there's language acquisition, because how is it possible that your child can get fluent in whatever language you speak to them, or even multiple languages? And why is it so much more difficult as an adult to learn any of these languages? And you will learn a little bit about language acquisition during one of your first year papers, and then you can choose to do the more advanced version of that paper in your second or third year. Another important question when it comes to languages is how language actually works in our brain. So this is psycho and neurolinguistics. And again, in Cambridge, we have a psycholinguistic lab where you can do your own experiments, for example, if you want to write your dissertation in one of these subfields. And then we have experts in forensic linguistics. So this is more the applied side of linguistics. How can we use the knowledge that we gain through linguistics and apply it to other fields, like, for example, how to solve crime in this instance, analyzing writing, but also analyzing sounds, etc. And then you've probably all used things like Siri or Alexa, Google search engines, etc. Now, this wouldn't really be possible without the field of computational linguistics and natural language processing. And this is one of the advanced papers you can choose in your second or third year. So what does the tripos really look like? Well, in your first year, as I said, you get the core components. So you have papers like sounds and words. So this is phonetics and phonology, morphology. You've got structure and meaning to do with syntax and semantics, pragmatics. And then you have the basics of what we call language, brain, and society, psycholinguistics, language acquisition, etc. And then one paper, the fourth paper in your first year, is History and Varieties of English. So this is to do with variation, social linguistics, but also historical linguistics, and how does the English language change over time. Then in part two, as we call it, so this is your second year and your third year. In your second year, you can choose 4 of the advanced papers, any of the 4 you like. And in year 3, you'll write your dissertation, which counts as one of your papers. And you'll do one paper that's called linguistic theory, which combines all the knowledge that you've gained in the course of your time here in Cambridge. You furthermore choose 2 other papers for your final exam in your third year. Now, what are the options? So as I said, you can do the advanced options of all the core components of linguistics. So advanced phonetics, advanced phonology, morphology, semantics, syntax, pragmatics, etc. But also first and second language acquisition, historical linguistics, history of English, computational linguistics, psycholinguistics, etc. Now, apart from that, you can even borrow some papers from other faculties and from other tripuses. So you can borrow a paper from classics, for example, if you want to know more about the linguistics of, let's say, Greek and Latin, for instance, or you can borrow papers from the MML tripos, so let's say Italian linguistics or French linguistics.